Hello and welcome to the Girl That Went For It podcast. I'm your host, Johanna, also known as Johanna Liana on Instagram, and author of Believe in Life, How to Dance in the Rain. If you want to live your dream life and become the best version of yourself, then this podcast is for you. I hope that I can inspire and encourage you to never give up and to always believe in yourself. Feel free to follow me on Instagram, Johanna_Liana, for daily content. And now enjoy this episode. Hello and welcome to my podcast. Who am I and why am I doing this? It's the first episode of this podcast, and I just have to say I can't believe that I'm finally doing this. It's been on my mind for so long, especially as I myself love listening to podcasts, and I think it's one of my favorite ways to consume content via podcast. So I'm just so excited to finally take the step out of my comfort zone and to start this podcast. So yeah, why am I doing this? I love sharing my thoughts on Instagram and also a little bit on TikTok and YouTube. But yeah, I love sharing my thoughts. I love connecting with you guys. And as I myself love listening to podcasts, I was like, why not? I always say like a quote in my Instagram bio for a long time was the girl that went for it. And that's with literally everything I do. I want to be the girl that went for it. So I don't want to be like, oh, I want to do this one day and I want to do that. I actually want to do it, and rather sooner than later. So here I am recording my first episode of my podcast. So first of all, who am I? For those who don't know me, who stumbled across this podcast, first of all, thank you for listening. So yeah, I'm Johanna, I'm 26 years old, and as you might hear, English is my second language, and I am originally from Germany, but I moved to New Zealand 3 years ago, 2019, so 3 years ago now. Time flies by, honestly. And yeah, I moved to New Zealand because it has always been my dream to go back to New Zealand. I was in New Zealand the first time after high school, 2014 or 15, and I fell in love with the country and I always wanted to come back. And as I said earlier, I wanted to be the girl that went for it, so I did it. I moved to New Zealand 3 years ago, and I'm probably going to share some podcast episodes about that as well. Would love to do a podcast episode with my friend Muriel. She is from the Netherlands, and so we both moved to New Zealand, and we just have so much to share about the lifestyle here compared to where we're from. So Muriel, if you're listening to this, I planned you in this episode, in one of the episodes as well. But yeah, what else are you going to find here on my podcast, or what topics am I going to talk about? I love motivating others to follow their dream, and I love to encourage people to don't give up and to make their dream life happen and to become their most authentic self. I wrote a book 2021, or I published it in 2021, Believe in Life, How to Dance in the Rain. And I share a lot of my thoughts about how I followed my dream, how I made my dream come true. But I also share important topics like grief and loss, and when life is not peachy, or how do you say it, like when life is not perfect, because life isn't perfect. We all deal with different things, and life has its ups and downs, and we can decide how we deal with it. So I always say life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. And in my book I share a lot of thoughts about how I overcame tough times and what I did. And I want to share this on my podcast too, like how you can get through tough times, how you can follow your dream, how you can achieve your goals, and all things like that. I am an absolute fan of self-care, so you're probably going to have some episodes on here, or I'm going to share some episodes on self-care and how to become your most authentic self. So if you're into that, this is your podcast. So excited to connect with you. Feel free to send me topics you want me to talk about. Maybe you've been following me for a while and you really have like some questions about how I follow up my dream. Feel free to send me a message. I come back to you as soon as possible. And I'm just so excited for this new chapter, and I can't wait to get this going. Well, that does it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for listening and tuning in today. If you like this episode and don't want to miss any new ones, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Feel free to share it with your friends or on social media. It really means a lot to me. It will help me to create this podcast. You can find me on Instagram, Johanna_Liana. I'm always happy to connect, so flick me a message if you want. Enjoy the rest of your day, and always remember, it's a beautiful day to have a good day. It's a beautiful day to be alive.